Transgender federal employee wins historic discrimination case. Chapter 13, Sexual Orientation. Most commonly used terms are sexual affinity and sexual orientation. In the late summer of 2010, Tamara Lusardi, whose birth name is Todd, informed a supervisor that she wanted to start transitioning from male to female at work. Tamara Lusardi had been working as a quality assurance specialist for the U.S. Army for 6 years. She had already legally changed her name from Todd to Tamara, updated her Social Security card to reflect that name and gender, and received letters from her doctor confirming that she was going to be living as a woman. While she was on the clock, she was required to use a single occupancy restroom because she hadn't had gender reassignment surgery. Lusardi is an intersex person who began developing female sex characteristics later in life because of a medical condition. They even stopped giving her work and referred to her with male pronouns and by her birth name. After Lusardi's transition became public at work, she says she had a handful of supporters, but she felt she was slowly demoted. While she'd previously received awards, she feels that she was bumped down the hierarchy of projects and kept at her desk and away from contract work for months at a time. People were talking, but no manager or supervisor was stepping in. In a telephone interview, she reported that she was referred to as Sir and It by her coworkers. She thinks things might have been better if the Army had given the employees a professional training session. A workplace where trans people can come out safely will have healthier, happier employees and a more aware, more informed workforce. When you know what the expectations are, teamwork improves. It's okay to be uncomfortable about sharing a bathroom with someone they know is transgender, but it's not okay to harass. This is a good thing to talk about during employee trainings. Lusardi's case is part of a broader push by the federal government and the OSC to protect sexual affinity in the government. 20 states have sexual orientation laws, and 16 states have laws protecting transgender individuals. In July, Obama signed an executive order banning workplace discrimination against millions of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender employees of federal contractors and the federal government. The executive order prohibits firing or harassment of federal contractors based on sexual orientation or gender identity, and it bans discrimination against transgender employees of the federal government. In a recent study by the National Center for Transgender Equality and the National LGBTQ Task Force, 90% of transgender individuals report mistreatment of discrimination in the workplace, forcing many to hide their gender identity. More and more people are coming out of the closet at the workplace. There's no single right way to do things. The Transgender Law Center recommended that rather than waiting until an employee comes out of trans to address non-discrimination, companies should preemptively create policies to deal with privacy and rights. That way, when an employee announces that he or she is transitioning, the employer can point to a specific policy and help educate coworkers. Discrimination forces many transgender individuals into extreme poverty, according to Sasha Buchert, staff attorney of the Transgender Law Center. They experience double the rate of unemployment, twice the rate of homelessness, and 85% more incarcerations compared to those who are employed, the study found. Even with expanded legal protections, transitioning at work is bound to be complicated. Experts argue that how an employee approaches the process and how employers and management respond can have a critical impact on the trans person's safety and job security, the comfort of other employees, and in some cases, the profit margins of the company. A representative for the EEOC said that in 2013, the first year it began collecting transgender specific complaints, it received 131 charges alleging discrimination based on gender identity. By the EEOC, enforcing this law makes a huge difference for transgender people, says Sasha Buchert. Lusardi's lawyer and a staff attorney with the Transgender Law Center in San Francisco. It's especially critical for people in states that don't have gender non-discrimination laws. Discriminating against employees because they are transgender or because they have transitioned or plan to is sex-based discrimination and violates Title VII of the 1964 Civil Rights Act. Activists say they are encouraged by recent legal victories for transgender individuals who lost jobs and by positive stories about transgender characters on TV shows such as Orange is the New Black and Transparent. But there are still 32 states where firing workers for being transgender is still legal, the Law Center said. The practical solution is to mandate tolerance. Society would like you to love everybody, but society can require you to tolerate everybody. Society may have a higher goal acceptance. Realistically, it should be looking to achieve removal of discrimination from the workplace and everyday life. Lusardi said she is busier at work these days, with the Army giving her back some of her workload since April. We have served our country in silence, she said, of transgender federal employees. I hope my case and this decision will help other transgender people feel safe enough to bring their full, authentic selves to work. This report makes clear that we don't have to put up with being mistreated on the job just because of who we are. Thank you.